Imagine this. You're about to leave the house, your bag's on your shoulder, you've got the keys in your hand, and then, bam, you remember the stove. Did you turn it off? You don't know. So you walk back to check, you flick the switch, then you leave again. But wait, was that really it? What if you missed a burner? Or, wait, did you leave the fridge door open last time? Did you unplug the toaster? Suddenly, you're having an existential crisis in your own kitchen, questioning the fabric of reality. Is the stove on? Is it off? And in the back of your mind, there's that dread, that horrifying what if, that keeps spinning around like a hamster wheel in your head. Sound familiar? That, my friend, is your mind getting caught in a thought loop. This lovely little neurological trick is often fueled by anxiety or OCD. When you're anxious about something, whether it's leaving the stove on or, I don't know, checking the door 15 times before bed, your brain kicks into hyperdrive, creating a mental feedback loop. You check it once, but your brain says, wait, we're not sure if that was enough, so you go back. And it repeats and repeats until you're trapped in a never-ending game of did I not? The most fun part? Even when you do check everything, your brain still isn't convinced. It will find another angle of doubt just to keep you locked in the cycle. It's like your mind's personal horror movie that you can't turn off. Basically, your brain is just trying to keep you safe. It's like that friend who sends 17 texts asking if you're really sure you locked the door. Except, unlike that friend, your brain's doing it because it's too damn paranoid. It's like, you know what? Better safe than sorry, but mostly sorry. Okay, so you're standing on the edge of a bridge, or maybe you're at the top of a building looking out over the city. It's quiet, peaceful even, and then, boom, a thought pops into your head. What if I just jumped? Now, don't freak out. We all get these weird intrusive thoughts, like what if I ran across the street right now? Or what if I just grabbed that sharp object and threw it across the room? They pop into your brain out of nowhere, and they're terrifying. But the weird thing is, you probably don't actually want to do any of those things. It's not like you're secretly plotting your own dramatic exit from this world. But still, that thought lingers. This phenomenon has a fancy name, intrusive thoughts. They're like uninvited guests at a party, except they don't want snacks, they just want to mess with your head. Psychologists think these thoughts are a natural result of how the brain works. It's a bit of your mind running random simulations, kind of like how your computer might pop up with an error message saying, error, dangerous jump simulation running. The thing is, these random thoughts don't mean you're losing it. They're just a byproduct of your brain processing what-ifs. Your brain is just running through a scenario to keep you prepared, kind of like mentally bracing for a potential disaster, just in case you do have to throw that toaster across the room in self-defense. So next time you're standing on the edge of something and you get the urge to fly, just remember, your brain is having an internal freakout, not suggesting you actually take the leap. It's like that one friend who's always overreacting but never actually follows through on the drama. No big deal. We've all been there. You're home alone, everything's quiet, and suddenly you hear a noise. Maybe it's a creak in the floorboards, a gust of wind rattling the window, or your dog having an existential crisis in the next room. But the noise? It's way too loud for your brain to ignore. Immediately, your mind jumps into overdrive. Is it a burglar? Is the house about to collapse? Or could it be a ghost? And then you start hearing more things. Every tiny creak or rustle becomes a potential sign that something sinister is lurking just out of sight. Your mind spirals into a panic. Now you're imagining burglars, ghostly figures, and your childhood nightmare coming back to haunt you. So what's actually going on here? It's your brain's survival instinct at work, kind of. See, our brains are constantly on the lookout for danger, even when there's no real threat. It's that whole better safe than sorry thing. We've evolved to be hyper-aware of potential threats. Back in the day, a rustling in the bushes might have meant a predator was nearby. So, to keep you safe, your brain decides to overreact to even the tiniest noise. It's a little bit like having an overprotective parent who thinks you're constantly in danger, even when you're just sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Now, the weirdest part? This heightened awareness often makes you hear things that aren't actually there. The brain can get so focused on detecting danger, it starts inventing noise. That little whoosh of wind, totally normal. But your mind, it's hearing a footstep, or a whisper, or something far creepier. Basically, your brain is like that one friend who gets scared watching a documentary and insists they hear something every 5 seconds. Spoiler alert, it's never a ghost, it's just your brain working overtime to make sure you don't get eaten by something that doesn't exist. You know when you're sitting there staring at something, maybe a book, your phone, or a blank wall, and suddenly, you've completely checked out. You're still physically present, but mentally, you're off in another galaxy pondering the meaning of life. Or just, imagining what it would be like to live as a sloth. Either way, the minutes slip by, and when you snap back to reality, you realize, wait, where did the time go? This is the strange, mysterious phenomenon known as mind wandering. And while it sounds like an innocent mental vacation, it's actually one of your brain's most devious little tricks. You think you're just relaxing, but really, your brain is off running in circles, making up scenarios, exploring random thoughts, and totally wasting your time. But here's the kicker, it's actually important. You're basically giving your brain a chance to recharge. Your mind wanders when it doesn't have anything urgent to do or when you're bored out of your mind. It's like your brain saying, alright, let's take a break and mentally check out. During this time, it's working through emotions, solving problems, and doing a little bit of creative brainstorming. So when you zone out, it's not all useless. It's like your brain is cleaning out the mental junk drawer, even though it looks like you're just daydreaming about weird things. But here's the thing. As important as mind wandering is, it can sometimes take you down the darkest of paths. You could start thinking about a song stuck in your head, and before you know it, you're spiraling into an existential crisis about whether you really like that song or if you're just listening to it because it's on the radio too much. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You can be working through big life stuff, or you could be in an emotional tailspin over a bad 90s pop song. It's like the mental equivalent of trying to organize your messy closet. You're going through piles of clothes, thoughts, finding some old memories, shirts you haven't worn in years, and trying to figure out why the hell you have so many pairs of shoes, unnecessary anxieties. And all the while, time is slipping by. So yeah, mind wandering. Useful, but a little bit like finding yourself in a time warp without even knowing it. You know that moment when someone reminds you of something you swear you did, but suddenly it feels totally off. You think, wait, that's not how it went. Did I even do that? Welcome to the bizarre world of false memories. It's like your brain playing tricks on you and rewriting the script of your life. One minute, you're sure you went to a party in 2010, and the next, you're questioning if you were at the wrong party or if that even happened at all. Spoiler alert, your brain has a tendency to add its own special effects to your memories, like a director trying to jazz up a boring documentary. False memories aren't just embarrassing party mix-ups, they're more like tiny psychological glitches in the Matrix. Your brain takes bits and pieces of real events, mixes them up, and voila, suddenly you remember things that never happened. Studies show that memory is wildly unreliable. It's not like a DVR that you can pause and rewind, it's more like a broken record that sometimes skips and messes up the tune. Our memories are reconstructed every time we recall them, and the more you revisit them, the more you start adding details you didn't originally have. The thing is, these fabricated memories feel real. Your brain doesn't just whisper, hey, I think you might have forgotten something. It forces you to believe that missing puzzle piece is part of the original picture. It's like thinking you remember meeting a famous person at a concert and then finding out they were never even there. Your brain has a knack for confidently inventing memories to fill gaps and make sense of your experiences, whether they're true or not. And the creepiest part, false memories are often created by things you didn't even realize influenced you, like suggestive comments from others or media you've consumed. It's like your mind has a playlist of things that it replays, but sometimes it throws in songs you didn't even know existed. So now, you're walking around with a mind full of phantom memories, wondering if the real you even exists, or if you're just living in a brain-generated reality show. Basically, your mind is just an unreliable narrator of your life story, and sometimes it forgets to tell you the truth. Ever get that strange, eerie feeling that you've already experienced something before? Like déjà vu, but not just a quick moment. It's like you're stuck in a loop and you know this moment is going to play out exactly like the last one. You're having a conversation with someone and it feels like you've heard this exact sentence before. You're standing in a room and you could swear you've been here, done this, seen this. It's not just familiar, it's uncanny. And yet, you know it's happening for the first time. The science behind déjà vu is both fascinating and frustratingly mysterious. Some researchers think it's because your brain is processing the moment a little too slowly, creating a glitch where the current experience is confused with a memory. So, when you're living in the present, your brain's like, wait, I think we've done this before. Oh, we haven't? Well, let's tell them it's déjà vu, just to spice things up. Other theories suggest that it could be a quirk in how your brain stores short-term and long-term memories, or even a little hiccup in how the brain fires off signals. Maybe your brain picks up a detail you're not aware of, like the exact angle you're holding your coffee cup, and suddenly, it's like you've already experienced that moment, right down to the way your hand twitches when you reach for the cup. Your brain's little filing system is just taking shortcuts and pulling from the wrong drawer. But the truly weird part? When you experience déjà vu, your brain isn't just fooling you into thinking it's been done before, it's convincing you that it's not just a random coincidence. In fact, the whole thing feels so real and so certain that you might even start questioning reality itself, like maybe you're stuck in a simulation. The brain's gift for messing with perception at its finest. In short, deja vu is like when your brain is trying to stream a movie from the past while you're watching the present, except the movie file got corrupted. So yeah, it's a glitch, a super freaky, mind-bending glitch that makes you wonder if you're stuck in an endless loop of mistaken identity. So picture this, you're sitting in a quiet room and suddenly your brain zooms in on the tiniest things. You become acutely aware of your breathing. You can hear the blood rushing in your ears. Every single sound, every creak, every slight rustle becomes amplified in your mind. Your heart rate accelerates and your focus narrows to the point where it's like your brain has entered a state of panic, even though in reality, everything is fine. Sounds familiar, right? This is called hyper-awareness, and it's your brain's ultimate attempt to keep you alert and on guard, except it overdoes it a little bit. You know that moment when you suddenly become aware of every single thing happening around you, like the way your eyelids are twitching or the feeling of your socks against your feet. It's as if your brain decides that nothing is normal, everything deserves attention, and you'd better be aware of it, even if it's completely insignificant. The problem is, this is usually linked to anxiety. Your body goes into a heightened state of alert, as if you're about to be ambushed by an enemy, but there's no enemy, just you, sitting in your living room, freaking out about your own internal functions. Basically, it's like your brain's doing its best impression of a scared deer, even though you're not being chased by anything. Your brain's response is to put you in overdrive, making everything feel like a big deal. But here's the kicker. The more you focus on these sensations, the more intense they become. It's a cycle. You get overly aware, which then makes you even more anxious, which then makes you hyper-aware about your anxiety, and so on. Your brain is basically trying to keep you alive by flooding you with information. Too bad it's focusing on your heartbeat like it's a drum solo instead of actual dangers. So, next time you're lost in a vortex of awareness, like obsessing over the weird way your finger is tapping or the fact that you haven't blinked in the past 10 seconds, just remember, it's your brain trying to be overly helpful and failing spectacularly. Ever seen a robot or a creepy CGI character that looks almost human but not quite? You're probably not wrong to feel a little unsettled by it. Enter the creepy realm of the uncanny valley. It's that strange, uncomfortable sensation you get when something looks human but doesn't quite feel human. It's like that one mannequin in the store window that's just too lifelike. Or the hyper-realistic virtual character who stares at you with dead eyes. It's almost too much. The uncanny valley is a psychological phenomenon where something looks so close to a human being that your brain gets tricked into thinking it's a person. But then, your brain spots the tiny differences, like the slightly off mouth movement or the eerie, lifeless stare, and wham, you're suddenly hit with a deep, primal sense of discomfort. Why? Because, evolutionarily, your brain is trained to be hyper-alert to subtle signs that something is wrong. Back in the day, seeing something almost human, but not quite, could have meant it was a threat. Think creepy creatures lurking in the shadows of the jungle. So, when you encounter a robot or a human-like figure with an imperfect face, your brain immediately flags it as a danger. But it's not just robots that get this reaction. It happens with CGI characters in movies, virtual assistants, even overly realistic dolls. The brain sees these things as both familiar and alien at the same time, which is like a red flag for your nervous system. It's like watching a horror movie where the villain looks almost normal, but there's something just off about them. You can't put your finger on it, but your skin crawls anyway. This phenomenon is why we're so drawn to things that are either clearly human or clearly not human, like a cartoon character or a real person. The closer something gets to human but misses the mark, the more disturbing it becomes. It's like being stuck in a bad first date where the other person's smile doesn't quite match the rest of their face, and you can't stop thinking, what's going on here? Should I be worried? So yeah, your brain isn't broken, it's just protecting you from a creepy, almost human world where things should be right but aren't. You've probably been there, at least once. You're in a situation where you have absolutely no control. Maybe it's a plane ride with turbulence so fierce it feels like you're inside a blender. Or maybe you're stuck in traffic, your entire day going down the drain, but there's nothing you can do about it. Your body starts to tense up, your mind races, and you feel a growing sense of helplessness. The world, quite literally, has just turned into one big mess that you can't fix. And that is your brain's biggest nightmare. See, humans are wired to love control. We love having the power to steer the ship. Even if the ship is a metaphor for the awkward conversations we avoid, or the pile of laundry we haven't touched in weeks. But the moment you're stripped of that control, panic, anxiety, that irrational, uncontrollable fear that something is about to go horribly wrong, even though the odds of that actually happening are slim to none. Psychologically, the lack of control creates a sense of chaos in your brain. Your nervous system goes into fight or flight mode, even if the situation doesn't warrant it. Your brain doesn't like uncertainty, it likes predictability. When your brain's expected outcomes are shattered, it gets thrown into a tailspin. It's like watching a perfectly organized desk get covered in paperwork and you just can't find the stapler. You lose track of time, you start making irrational decisions, and everything feels like it's slipping through your fingers. This is when you start worrying about things you wouldn't normally sweat. Will I be late to that meeting? Will the plane go down? Will I forget my keys for the third time this week? Your brain is flipping through worst-case scenarios like a freaked-out librarian pulling all the wrong books off the shelf. Your body's adrenaline is pumping for a threat that's not even there. It's like your body is preparing for a disaster, even though the worst thing happening is your car being stuck behind a parade. So yeah, your brain hates unpredictability and chaos. It's like that one friend who freaks out when you try to change plans at the last minute. The second it doesn't know what's coming next, it goes into meltdown mode. It's all about finding that sense of control again, whether it's taking a deep breath or yelling at the guy in front of you in traffic for absolutely no reason. Ever looked in a mirror, stared at your reflection, and suddenly thought, wait, who the heck is that person? It's not that the reflection looks different, but there's something off about it. Maybe your face is slightly crooked or your posture looks totally wrong. You know it's you, but for a split second, the person staring back feels like a stranger. Welcome to the weird and unsettling world of mirror neurons and the self-perception conundrum. Your brain is constantly trying to maintain an accurate understanding of how you look, but mirrors are tricky little things. When you look at yourself, you're not just seeing yourself as you are. You're seeing an image that's been flipped, reversed, and presented in a way that your brain is never actually used to. When we look at a mirror, our brain is trying to reconcile what we feel we look like with what we actually see. This creates a strange cognitive dissonance, almost like your reflection is a poorly edited version of yourself. The thing is, this feeling can be super unsettling because for a brief moment, your brain wonders if it's seeing the real you, or if your reflection is trying to tell you something deeper about your identity. This can make the process of seeing yourself in the mirror feel like you're meeting a stranger who knows you a little too well. It's also why many people feel weird about seeing themselves in photographs. Your brain is more accustomed to how you look in real life. When you're looking at yourself in a mirror, you're seeing a version that you've never actually experienced. So, when you see a picture or video of yourself, it's like watching someone else's interpretation of who you are, which makes you question everything about your personal identity. It's like you're starring in a movie where you're both the lead character and the confused audience. But in the end, that unsettling feeling is just your brain trying to make sense of the person staring back at you. It's trying to reconcile what you feel you look like and what is actually reflected in front of you. So, next time you feel like your mirror image is trying to mess with you, just remember, your brain's a little confused, but you've got this. It's just the daily existential crisis in 3D. Oh, you've definitely felt it. You're sitting there minding your own business when suddenly, vibrate. But wait, you check your phone and nothing, no notifications, no text messages, just the sweet, sweet silence of an empty phone screen, but you swear your phone vibrated. So, what's going on? Are you being haunted by a ghost, or is your brain just having a meltdown? Introducing a phantom vibration syndrome, the phenomenon where your body thinks your phone is vibrating even though it isn't. And trust me, this isn't just you having one too many late-night snack cravings. This is a legitimate glitch in how your brain processes sensory signals. Essentially, your brain is so used to the constant vibrations, pings, and buzzes of your phone that it starts creating the sensation of it when it's not even happening. Why? Because your brain is trained to expect notifications. You've trained your body to respond to that buzz. So when it doesn't actually happen, your brain freaks out and fills in the gaps. It's like that feeling when you think you hear your name being called in a crowd, but you turn around and realize nobody actually said it. The brain just invent stuff sometimes. And the crazy part? The more you check your phone when this happens, the more your brain gets stuck in that loop. It's like a bad feedback loop that keeps you obsessively checking your phone for something that doesn't exist. Because your brain says, well, maybe the notification just hasn't shown up yet. And here's the kicker. It's not just phones. This happens with any regular sensory experience that gets too ingrained in your brain. Ever felt your leg twitch and thought it was a phone vibrating? That's your brain trying to translate random body movements into something familiar. So, next time you feel the phantom buzz, just laugh it off. Your brain is just desperately trying to tell you something it thinks you need to know, even if it's completely imaginary. Okay, this is the big one, the absolute top tier of mental chaos. The brain just can't take it anymore. Imagine this. You've been juggling work, social plans, personal goals, and maybe even a little existential dread, because who doesn't have that these days? Suddenly, it all hits you at once and your brain short circuits. You feel overwhelmed, scattered, and totally unable to focus on anything. Every task feels like it's urgent, but you can't seem to get a single thing done. The pressure builds up and you're left wondering, how did I get here? This is your brain experiencing cognitive overload. It's like trying to run a computer with too many tabs open at once, except instead of just freezing up, your brain starts throwing random emotional fits, making you feel exhausted and completely incapable of handling what's in front of you. Every little decision seems monumental. Even deciding what to have for dinner feels like choosing between life and death. Spoiler, it's never that serious, but your brain isn't in the mood for perspective. Why does this happen? Well, humans aren't built to deal with constant streams of information all at once. Back in the caveman days, you didn't have to deal with 47 different email threads, Instagram stories, and the deep anxiety that comes from the fact that you haven't figured out your life's purpose yet. Your brain is simply not wired to multitask effectively when it's faced with a never-ending cascade of thoughts, demands, and distractions. When this happens, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles decision-making, focus, and reasoning, essentially goes into meltdown mode. It's like trying to take a calculus test with the emotional stability of a toddler. You freeze, you forget things, you become a mess of feelings and tasks you just can't handle. The worst part? You know you're capable of more. You're just not right now. So, what's the solution? Well, it's about learning to hit the reset button. Your brain, much like your phone, just needs to be turned off and given time to cool down. Meditation, rest, or just stepping away from the overload helps your mind reorganize and make sense of everything. But when you're stuck in that spiral, it's easy to feel like you've lost all control because, honestly, your brain is really bad at juggling everything at once. You end up staring at the pile of chaos and thinking, this is it, I've broken my brain. And in a sense, you kind of have, but not permanently. It's like your brain is throwing a tantrum, demanding some quiet time, and hey, it's earned it. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.